a dick shot.
Yeah. Okay. Say hello on 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hello! Welcome to our review of Ma.
Yes.
Ma 2019. Blumhouse did it again, ladies and gentlemen. I fucking hated it. Just kidding.
So, it follows this girl named Maggie, and she's new to town.
Her and her mom just moved in.
Juliette Lewis.
The mom grew up in this town, and then once she graduated high school, she moved out to San Francisco, but her marriage failed. And so now her and her teenage daughter have moved back to her hometown, and her daughter is now attending the same high school that she
did. Yes. So Maggie makes friends with this group of teenage children at her school, and they're fucking terrible. And they just literally just drive around and drink all day. That's like literally all they do.
Yeah, it's a small town, so
There's nothing else to do.
That's pretty much their idea of fun.
Before they go to the town drinking spot, they go to the local liquor store, and
I'm gonna go down to that local drinking store, get me a drink.
they go to the liquor store and they basically stand outside and beg people to buy them liquor, and everyone says no, and then we meet Ma.
Beautiful Ma.
She is walking a handicapped dog.
Walking a 3-legged pooch.
And she buys it for them because they're driving in one of the teenager's car, which belongs to his dad's security company, so it has the name of the security company. And it's like as soon as Ma sees the van and sees who owns the company, then she decides to buy them the liquor.
And sees the little boy driving.
She like puts 2 and 2 together that must be his son. So she buys them the liquor and sends them off on their way. But when they're at the rock quarry, whatever they call it, rock pile, she Star 69's his dad,
Ben
is his name, tells him that his son is out at the rock pile drinking. Ben calls cops on his own son. A+ parenting. They keep getting Ma to get them liquor.
Instead of just handing them the liquor, she has them follow her back to her house and explains that she'd rather them drink safely in her basement rather than get in trouble at the rock pile or drive drunk or anything like that.
Cops on them.
Yeah.
So they are gonna make a party spot in her basement, and they tell her that she needs to get snacks and fix the place up for
Gas
them.
it up.
It was just really weird.
Deck it out. They're very aggressive to Mom.
They're really aggressive.
They come in hot.
Really rude teenagers.
Entitled.
Just little dicks. She ends up pimping out her basement, and
it becomes the local hot spot
for all of the teenagers.
For all the underage drinking.
And so she kind of starts getting more and more weird. She makes Snapchat videos and asks them where they are and invites them over on weeknights, and then starts getting upset if they say they can't come over. And it's slowly revealing through flashbacks that she has a connection with Andy and Maggie, with their parents from high school. And
they hint at some big event that happened in Ma's past that leads her to be interested in mingling with these children.
It seems like it's mostly Andy and Maggie she's interested in mingling with,
primarily.
But the other ones are just kind of collateral damage.
Yep.
Maggie starts to figure it out because they all start to get a little bit freaked out. She won't let them upstairs in her house. That was one of her rules, is they have to stay in the basement, and Maggie and her friend Haley end up going upstairs to use the bathroom, and you can hear Ma upstairs screaming at someone. It sounds like she's beating somebody up, honestly. I mean,
signs of a struggle.
Yeah. So Ma catches them upstairs and like throws Maggie out of the way and sends them back downstairs, telling them that they can't come upstairs, you know, that whole thing. So they get really freaked out and they decide they're not going to hang out at Ma's anymore, and they say that they're going to block her. But Haley, for some reason, sends a Snapchat to everyone that includes Ma.
Yeah.
To block Ma, and that she's crazy. So of course she sees this because Haley sent it to her, and shit starts to hit the fan. So Ben, Andy's father, comes into the veterinary office that Ma is working at and says that he wants to hang out with her, go get some drinks after she's off of work and catch up on things. And you can tell she's like super excited, and that she clearly probably still has a crush on him, because it was very obvious that she had a crush on him back in high school. So they meet for drinks, and they're doing like small talk, and everything seems fine. But he takes out a tracker from his car and says that he has all of his vans equipped with tracking devices, and that he knows Andy's been at Ma's house almost
every weekend.
Every weekend at least. Like, he tells her to stay away from him. I don't know what you want with my son, but stay away from him. I'm not going to call the cops. I'm going to handle it myself. Ooh, big speech. So that only makes it worse. She calls the group of teenagers and comes up with a story that she has cancer, and the medicine that she's taking because of her cancer is making her act erratic, and that's why she's been so crazy and sending all of the Snapchats and everything like that. So they quickly forgive her, and they feel really bad that they were blocking her and ignoring her.
Haley notices
the jewelry.
Notices that Ma was wearing a bracelet that belongs to one of their classmates.
Yep.
Haley realizes that her grandma's ring has been missing, and Maggie adds that her mother's earrings have been missing, and they decide that Ma probably has both of them. So they sneak into her house during the daytime to look for their missing jewelry, and that is when they discover Ma's shrine.
I'd call it a shrine.
And they then discover that Ma is connected to their parents.
Andy and Maggie's parents.
Yeah.
On her first day, Maggie met this girl at school who was in a wheelchair. And we find out the girl in the wheelchair is Ma's daughter. And that's who she's been keeping upstairs. That's why no one's allowed upstairs. She says that she can't walk. She has to use a wheelchair, but she can clearly walk. She's walking around
We see her walking around
the
the
second
house.
story of the house. And she says that my mom says that I'm really sick, but I'm not sick. It's sort of a Munchausen's by proxy sort of situation happening.
And she's been missing from school for weeks, but
Yeah.
she wants to go back.
She can hear the parties whenever they're happening downstairs, and she has to sit upstairs locked up in her bedroom. It's very sad.
Yeah.
But she's friends with Maggie, so she says that she's going to cover for her and won't tell her mom that her and Haley were upstairs looking around in her room. You can kind of tell that she doesn't really care for her mom, because her mom's forcing her to take a bunch of medicine and miss school and all of that sort of stuff. So Maggie comes home and she finds that Ma is at her house with her mom, and Ma pretends she doesn't know Maggie. This is the first time they're meeting. And Maggie's mom explains that she was working at the veterinary office and she was taking care of their dog, and she came to check in on them, and it just so happens that they both went to high school together, and so she wants to start like a friendship again with her, and says that she's welcome to come over to their house anytime. But Maggie's been at her house drinking, doing underage drinking and partying all the time, so she can't exactly tell her mom, hey, I already know that lady, she buys us booze and threatens us occasionally. So there's another woman that she's dating Ben, and she was also in the friend group with Ma, Maggie's mom, and Ben, and is part of whatever happened between Ben and Ma. So she's like jogging down the street one day, and Ma is driving home and just runs her the fuck over. Just keeps on going and starts listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire.
It was art.
Yeah. And one night when Maggie's home by herself, she hears like rustling outside and her dog crying, and she finds her dog, he's bleeding, and you see like a little blur of Ma running away in her little scrubs
Away into the night.
So they don't know what's happening with it, and Maggie's mom wants to call Ma so she can do what she can to help. And Maggie has to fess up and tell her everything, that they've been at Ma's house and partying, that Ma is essentially a stalker and they're afraid of her.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Maggie's mom is more upset with Maggie. So Maggie sees on her phone that Andy is at Ma's for Chaz's birthday and decides to steal her mom's keys and drive to Ma's house. And this is when we find out what's happened between Ma and Ben. And I mean, it was bad, but
It's not that deep, Ma.
men are just like that.
It'd be like that sometimes.
They thought it would be funny if they had Ben pretend to have a crush on Ma. He leaves her a note
asking her to meet him in the janitor's closet after school.
Yes. So Mercedes is like, helping psych her up, putting some lipstick on her, teaching her.
How to suck that D.
Yeah. We find out Ma's been sucking the wrong dick.
She comes out of the closet and
Ben's
Ben is
standing
standing there.
with a bunch of people.
Yeah. A huge group of people.
Which, when this was after school,
Mm-hmm.
so people specifically stayed after school.
They said, everybody,
We want to see that.
stay put. We're going to see Ma sucking the wrong dick.
They're not actually seeing it. They just,
We're going to know. It's
They
going to
know
be
what happened.
hilarious. It was basically Carrie, but
Yes.
with more dick sucking and less
and
psychic powers.
a little bit of misery. Ma's at home. She gets a little knock knock on her door, and it's Ben. And he says, I told you my son better not be here. Ma has removed the tracking device from Andy's car to lure Ben to her home, and she drugs him with more diazepam and drags him up to her bedroom where her shrine is. There's many candles alit.
Very romantic.
He is stark naked on the bed with a towel covering his penis. She puts an IV in his arm of dog blood, Maggie's dog's blood. That's why she was at Maggie's house, telling him that men are dogs.
It's conceptual.
We also see an actual dick. That was
That was a fun surprise.
That was probably the biggest surprise of the movie.
It was up there.
She's like, gonna cut his dick off, and you kind of think like they're just gonna like have her hands down there, and then she lifts up the towel and you see a dick. So,
And
fair warning.
Yeah, she grabs on.
Grabs onto it. But then she kills him.
Mm-hmm.
Maggie, she sees that everybody is really, really wasted and acting really, really weird, and it's because Ma has drugged the drinks with more diazepam. Maggie, Andy, and their friend group. They're the only ones left. So they pass out in the basement. Maggie wakes up. She's the first one to wake up. And they are chained with collars to various spots in the basement. It's very Saw, kind of. And she has to sit and watch as Ma goes around basically torturing her friends.
As they sleep, though.
Yes, they're not awake for any of it because they're knocked out. It's heavy tranquilizers.
Yeah.
So, they're not going to feel any of it until they wake up. What is his name?
The Black?
Yes.
Darrell.
Darrell. She paints his face white.
Darrell is African American.
He's the only black one in the group, and
And-
she says there's only room for one of us.
She said, "There's only room for one of us," and then painted his face white.
his face white.
We were both sitting there, mouth agape.
That was
I think that was
That was
more.
better.
That was more shocking.
That
than
was
he
better
is
than
to
the
me.
dick shot.
Yeah, that really threw me for a loop.
Yeah. Well, he was probably like the most likable.
Yeah, he was nice. He was the nicest.
He was
to
more.
her.
He was even more likable than Maggie was.
Yeah.
And Andy wakes up.
By the way, Ma has a really big crush on Andy.
It's like a psychosomatic almost. It's just because he's Ben's son. I think is most of it. Because she does still.
Because she likes Chaz too.
Yeah, she's just kind of horny. I don't know.
Yeah, that's basically the main
Part
thing.
of me, yeah, mostly the plot.
That's
She's really
that's
horny.
the movie. Ma is horny.
Yeah. And so he puts on a little act and pretends that he also loves Ma,
Wants to be with her.
and they are going to be in love and together. It was really weird.
It was hard to watch.
They kiss, and then Ma stabs him because she knew he was faking it. She drags all their bodies over to the couch, props them up, and makes Maggie take photos of her with the unconscious teenage children. There's a cop that comes over to the house. Maggie's mom wakes up the next morning and sees that she's missing, even though she's locked her in her room, and kind of puts two and two together. So I think it was her that called the cops. Maggie starts screaming for help, and Ma shoots him and kills him. So Ma's coming down there. She sees that they're all awake and they're like trying to help Maggie. So she's gonna like kill all of them. She's like, not in my house, not letting you guys out. But then her daughter starts crying for help upstairs. So Ma runs back upstairs and opens the door, and Jeannie hits her in the head with a frying pan,
Knocking her unconscious temporarily.
and Jeannie runs downstairs. Maggie's mom show up and are starting to get the kids out of there, and somehow a fire has started also in all of this, and everybody gets out except for Ma wakes up just as everyone's escaping and grabs Jeannie and is going to keep Jeannie and burn alive together. There's this big tussle between Ma and Jeannie and Maggie and her mom, and Maggie's mom apologizes for everything that happened to Ma and that she didn't mean for anything to happen to her. So that of course doesn't work. Maggie gets a knife, the same knife that Ma had to stab Andy, and goes and stabs Ma in the back and says, "I'm not my mom."
I'm
Ouch.
not weak.
Yeah, ouch. She's standing right there, like literally right there. I don't even know what I would do if my kid said that, like right in front of me. It's like they're in a burning basement.
Cool.
Thanks. I'm a single mother taking care of your ungrateful ass.
I'm doing my best.
So this is the end of Ma. So they get Jeannie. They pull
She
Jeannie
knows
away.
there's no way out of this one.
Yeah. They pull Jeannie away and they make their escape, and so now the whole house is burning down. And Ma goes upstairs, up to her room, where Luke Evans is laying dying, and gets in bed with him and cuddles onto his dead body.
Roll credits.
And then that's it. I mean, that's how I would want to go.
Yeah, I don't see why
Burning
not.
down on top of Luke Evans.
What did we like about this film?
Octavia Spencer.
Octavia Spencer. My God, what a national treasure.
Yes. She's very good at it. She's got like, not natural crazy eyes.
But she can turn them on.
She can turn them on and off. It's incredible. And she's just very funny.
Yep.
In like a really subtle sort of way.
Pretty much my favorite moments of the film were the moments that you get alone with Ma, and you just see her living her life, and like you're figuring out what she's going to do next. I thought that those were some of the best moments.
You almost feel bad for her when she's by herself, and you kind of can see how she thinks about things.
Yeah.
But then she actually starts doing things. You're like, no, you're fucking crazy.
They do a good job of really showing you her perspective.
Yeah.
Like you really
You want
can
Luke Evans
understand.
dead.
You can understand what she's thinking. Like you know exactly what she's thinking and how she's feeling all the time. So I really like that.
I liked the party sequences.
Party sequences were great.
They
Had
were-
a wonderful soundtrack.
Yeah, they were like 80s music and stuff like that, and Ma like dancing.
Banger after banger.
I enjoyed Luke Evans being in it, even though he's a dick. But like, I just like Luke Evans. If you like Luke Evans, go see it. That's enough of a reason.
Sure, if you really like Luke Evans.
I liked Maggie and I liked Darrell. I did not really care for the other three though. Allison Janney is also in it.
Allison Janney.
Yes.
Another national treasure.
I love her. Her and Octavia Spencer are both on Mom.
And Juliette Lewis.
Yes, is Maggie's mom. Fantastic. She was in The Act. Also, Munchausen's by proxy.
Full circle.
Yeah. Oh, there was a really good foreshadowing moment that I did not even like pick up as a foreshadowing moment, which is when you know it's a good one. Because you know sometimes you hear someone say something and you're like, well,
Foreshadowing.
yeah.
Don't
Like in The Shining with the boiler.
Yep, and Don't Breathe had some very obvious
Oh
foreshadowing.
yeah.
Very heavy-handed with the foreshadowing.
So in the beginning of the movie, on Maggie's first day, she meets Jeannie and doesn't know that she's Jeannie. She's is a girl in school, and she's in her wheelchair, and she can't get up like a ramp.
Motorized wheelchair.
She has a motorized wheelchair, and she just needs someone to push her up the ramp, and then she can make the rest of the way on her own. Maggie helps her. Jeannie calls Maggie a lifesaver, and Maggie says in sort of an awkward way,
Thanks,
yeah,
you too.
Thanks, you too. And then, why did I
You
say
too.
that? But it ends up that Jeannie is, in fact, a lifesaver because she saved all of their lives at the end of the movie. Didn't even see that coming.
Got him.
Because, I mean, I kind of figured she was going to be Ma's daughter. Because
They're
their
black.
hair.
Oh,
They had the same hair.
they do have
No.
yeah, they had similar hair.
They had like the same hair. The ending. The last 20 minutes or so, you would say? 30 to 20 minutes of the movie
Sure.
were a little bit sped up. It went very quickly. Like, it's basically from when Ma kills Mercedes. After that, it just feels very rushed.
Things are just happening like dominoes.
Yeah. So it's just kind of strange because like she hits Mercedes, she runs her over in the middle of the day, in the middle of a street, and leaves her there, dead. And you don't ever hear anything about that.
We don't see or hear anything
About her death. And her boss, also she kills her boss. And
We don't see her kill her boss.
No, she's just dead in a cage.
She's dead in a cage, and that's all that you see.
After that, and then nothing ever comes of that. So it just seems like she kind of went like on a killing spree, and there's no consequence to the killing spree, which is kind of, it's a little odd since they do kind of point out a lot in the movie that it's a very small town and that everyone sort of knows each other. So you would think multiple people they're brutally murdered. It's not like they're missing or anything, they're brutally murdered, and you just don't hear anything about it.
With the dog.
The dog was weird.
Yeah, they were taking care of their dog after
We don't know
Ma
what
took
happens
his
to the
blood,
dog.
but yeah, you don't find out what happens to the dog, if he's gonna be okay.
No.
In my heart, he's
Yeah.
thriving.
He's fine. And there's another foreshadowing moment when they're in the basement for the first time. Ma has a gun and she's joking around with the kids. They don't think she's joking around. She points it at Chaz and tells him to strip naked. And so they think that
And he does.
He does, and they all think that she's gonna kill him. And she goes, "I'm just kidding. It doesn't work. Like I just found it when I moved in." And that's the same gun that she used to kill the cop. And they just don't really go together. There's no mention of the gun in between those two scenes. Like one's at the very beginning of the movie and one's at the very end. So it's just like, oh right, she had a gun.
Yeah.
I really don't care for the teenagers. Aside from Darrell and Maggie, Andy was nice, but he was just sort of there. He didn't really do anything until the end, where he pretended to like Ma, but he failed at that. And they all sort of just don't have any filters. I've never heard teenagers that speak like this to people. They're just really rude and
Really rude right off the bat. Like,
yes.
Just me and someone who is nice enough to buy you alcohol and like invite
Yeah.
you into their home, and they're like, they just come in acting
Your
kind
house
of
is a
rude.
shithole.
Yeah,
Give
and
us
entitled.
pizza rolls, bitch. I get that stupidity is often a plot device in horror movies because if you had people thinking logically, you wouldn't have the movie. But Jesus Christ, these kids take it to another level. I don't even know how they're in high school. They're stupid. They're asking strangers for alcohol, which, I mean, that's a completely different issue. But like, this woman, they don't know her. She's a complete stranger to them. Just because she buys them booze doesn't mean that she's like not a psychopath, which she clearly actually is a psychopath.
Plot twist.
They've learned
She
their
was.
lesson, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they don't question any of it.
No.
They just, oh, you want to invite us into your house, into your basement to drink alcohol at 10 o'clock at night? Sure.
And they go back far too many times.
It feels like they're there every single night.
After way too many red flags.
Yes.
They keep going back.
The first night that they're at her basement is
Huge
when she
red flag.
pulls a gun on Chaz.
Yeah.
And that whole situation. Even if it was a joke, that's so scary that someone would even joke about that and make a young boy essentially strip naked in front of her as a joke. It's just so weird. They're just very disjointed, like not even real, almost human beings. I can't imagine people actually being like this. And they stay friends with her way too long. It's just very stressful watching it. It's not like, you know, watching a slasher movie when you hear a noise downstairs and you're like, what are you doing? Don't go down there and check out the noise. Because, I mean, we would do that. Anyone would do that.
Unfortunately, you have to in order to keep your home safe.
Yeah. But this was, I mean, common sense.
I didn't see any of it.
You didn't see any what?
Common sense.
No, I didn't see any.
There was
either.
none present.
And also, like, I would think that if this woman started to steal my things, I was taking one shot and then was passed out unconscious and forgot everything and found myself in my home somehow and no one could really account for how I got there, I would tell my mom.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really care that I was going to get grounded.
No.
Kids are drinking, I'm scared.
Overall, we both liked it.
Very much. The things that we're complaining about are not necessarily like deal breakers. I would still definitely go see it.
Love to be picky.
Yeah. We're just really picky. I will probably buy this when it comes out on DVD. I give it 3.5 ghouls.
3.5
Out of 5.
ghouls out of 5 ghouls.
Yeah.
I agree. I also give it 3.5 out of 5 ghouls.
That's how you know that it's a pretty good one because she's very stingy with her ghouls.
It would be 3, but Octavia Spencer alone
She's just
bumps it up to a 3.5. It might be a 2.5 without Octavia Spencer.
Really?
She probably bumps it up a whole star.
wow.
I feel like her performance was a large part of my enjoyment of this film.
She did really, really well. But Blumhouse always does really good movies. I always really enjoy them. Her, not so much. I have not seen every Blumhouse movie. I'm working on it. But out of the ones that I have, I really enjoy all of them.
I enjoy most of them.
Most of them, yeah.
So, we want to do more of these movie reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Probably focusing on horror movies because we both like them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Old and new. This
Yes.
This one was a new release, but we plan to do old horror movies
We have
just as well.
We have a Shudder account.
Got a banging ass
So
Shudder
we can
account.
watch the exclusives on that. The old movies, the new movies.
And we might do some non-horror genre movies
Yeah.
occasionally.
Superhero movies probably, but those might be
Those
too
will be
negative.
controversial.
So,
Very controversial.
yeah.
Stay tuned. Stay golden. More content on the way.
Stay golden. Make good choices.
Stay in school.
Don't.
If you want.
Well, okay, I was gonna say, if a lady comes up to you and offers to buy you alcohol or says, come drink in my basement, don't do it.
Don't engage in pedophilia.
Definitely not. And don't try to cut people's dicks off.
No.
But go see Mom.
Yeah.
Let me just talk like that. I'll just talk like that.
Yeah, it's a good angle. Where
Serial killer collage. I can't talk.
collage.
Just cut that out.
Collage?
Just cut the whole part out. Well,
I think so.
so what should we do to say adios?
Adios. See you next time.
I don't like that.
Don't make me drink alone. Don't make me drink
I
alone.
wish we had
Don't
the-
make me drink
the
alone.
hats.
Hat? Oh, the little sexy
Our
hats?
sexy hat.
Yeah.